Okay, so we're going to break down a professional resume today. But listen, this is not your typical career path. Not even close. It's this really fascinating story about transformation, about how a career you might think is totally in the past can actually become the foundation for a brand new one. And this really is the big question, right? I mean, how does a clinical supervisor, someone who's been in that field for 20 years, suddenly become a government IT specialist? On the surface, those two things feel like they're on different planets. One's healthcare, the other's government tech. So, yeah, how do you make that jump? Well, the answer, believe it or not, is right there in his own professional summary. It's that one word, bridging. He sees himself as a bridge. So this isn't a story about ditching one career for another. It's about connecting them, using skills that, it turns out, are super valuable in both worlds.
So, to really get a handle on this journey, let's break his career down like a play in two distinct, powerful acts.
And you know, this is really the key takeaway here. This journey isn't about throwing away your past experience. It's the exact opposite. It's proof that these core skills, we're talking quality assurance, compliance, leadership, they're not locked into one industry. They're what we call transferable skills. And boy, are they valuable. All right, let's start with Act 1, the healthcare foundation. This is where the story begins. Wow, and just look at how deep this foundation is. This isn't some short-term gig. We're talking 1996 all the way to 2017. That's more than 20 years. 20 years spent mastering the ins and outs of healthcare operations. So what was he actually doing as a clinical coordinator? Well, it was pretty complex stuff. He wasn't just managing people. He was deep in the details, doing QA audits on patient charts, using the Epic system. He even collaborated with the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, on chart audits. And of course, making sure everything was up to snuff with medical compliance. These are all skills built on process, on data, and on just really rigorous oversight. Okay, so that deep experience in process and quality, that's the secret sauce. That's what makes the next part of this story even possible. Let's dive into Act 2, the pivot to technology. Okay, look closely at this, because this slide is basically the Rosetta Stone for his entire career change. On the left, you've got his healthcare skills. On the right, his new tech role. The titles, totally different. But look at the actual work. Quality assurance, process oversight, it's almost identical. Quality assurance on patient charts just becomes quality assurance on software. It's the same brain, the same analytical thinking, just pointed at a different problem. So boom, 2017, he makes the jump. And he didn't just dip his toe in the water. No way. He dove right into a serious, hands-on engineering role. He's building automation frameworks with tools like Selenium and Jenkins. This was a real successful leap into the world of tech. But he didn't just stop there in a generic tech job. He got smart. He specialized, taking all that experience with compliance and rules and aiming it straight at the world of government IT, which, as you can imagine, is all about high stakes and heavy regulation.
And you can literally trace his path. It's so logical. Step 1, he's leading testing for a big CMS upgrade. That's a content management system, going from Drupal 8 to 9. Then he takes that exact experience over to the IRS to do the same thing, but for a Drupal 9 to 10 upgrade. And finally, he's using all that expertise to make sure the IRS website is accessible to everyone, meeting these super strict federal standards. See? Each step just builds perfectly on the one before it.
All of this leads to something really significant. He earns a public trust security clearance from the Department of Defense. Now, that's not just another line on your resume. That's a huge deal. It's basically the government saying, we trust you. It really shows just how far he's come and how successful this career change has been. So, all of this brings us right up to the present day. Who is he now? He's a complete modern technologist, but one with this incredibly unique and powerful story. And his skill set totally proves it. I mean, you've got the expected stuff, right? The testing and automation tools, the deep knowledge of Drupal for web stuff. But then, check out the bottom row. AI tools. We're talking LLMs like ChatGPT and Gemini, prompt engineering. He's not just keeping up, he is actively pushing himself into the most cutting-edge parts of tech today. And this just drives that point home. It shows he's all about continuous learning. Yeah, he's got the standard certs like Scrum Master, which are great, but he's also got these brand new certifications in Google Prompt Engineering and NVIDIA's Gen AI. That tells you everything you need to know. This is someone who never stops learning and is always pushing to stay ahead of the curve. So when you zoom out and look at the whole picture, the story just clicks into place, doesn't it? Those 20-plus years in healthcare, that wasn't a different career he left behind. No, that was the launch pad. It's where he built the discipline, the focus on process, and that quality-first attitude that let him absolutely crush it in tech. His whole journey really gives us a perfect example of what you could call a bridge professional. Someone whose real value isn't just in one skill, but in their ability to connect different worlds. They can translate complex ideas from one field to another and merge different skill sets to come up with new solutions. And that really leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? In a world that seems obsessed with specializing in one tiny thing, what's the real value of a career path that isn't a straight line? What do these bridge professionals bring to the table? I think they're often the ones who come up with the most innovative ideas, precisely because they see the connections that everyone else misses.